Corporation Brinkley, Fargo, Arkansas, Cotton Plant area. All right, Cotton Plant is in the house here. So we're gonna get ready to open up here, and we're gonna have an opening by Larry Lofton, who is our Ag Farm Division Director. And I am Janie Williams, your Farm Advisor Specialist, and I will be your moderator this morning.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thanks, sis. I'm Larry Lofton. And I would like to welcome you before the mirror, actually, welcome to the official welcome for joining us today, those who are in person as well as those who are online. We do appreciate it. And the purpose of this meeting is to share information with you on programs and services that we know will be useful and very important to you. And we do that from Arkansas Land and Community Development. Bring this information to you of these programs and services because they are very, very important to our communities and to the agricultural development in the state of Arkansas. And I will turn this over back to Ms. Williams. Thank you.
It's not affecting the connection, transmitting
I mean,
to people online.
yeah, we go ahead and go, you go ahead and continue. You can.
Okay, let's give Ms. Washington a hand.
Good morning, everyone. Listen, I'm delighted to welcome you to the great city of Pine Bluff, Arkansas. We're delighted that you chose our city, and then we're so happy that we were able to host you in this space. This is the Kevin Collins Center, and you'll know it's named after one of our slain officers, and you'll see a kind of a memorial set up out there. So it is just an honor to host such a distinguished gathering of leaders, experts. I've talked to one of the gentlemen over there. We happen to have graduated from the same college class, A.M.N. 1976, last A.M.N. class. So we know all of you are dedicated to the growth and development of our rural communities. And it's amazing that after this last census, so many communities, even such as the one as Pine Bluff, the population declines in so many areas, rural communities have grown, believe it or not. Larger communities, such as what we have been in the past, is now defined as a rural metro, you might say. Here in Pine Bluff, we understand the unique challenges and opportunities that rural communities face. We understand that the purpose of this Rural Economic Summit is to provide vital resource information, training, and support from the Arkansas Community Development Corporation, the United States Department of Agriculture, and other esteemed state and private sector specialists. We are incredibly grateful for their participation and commitment to enhancing the economic prosperity of our region. This summit and your being here, whether you're here in person or virtual, it represents a collaborative effort to address these challenges head on, improving the quality of life for all residents. By leveraging the expertise, by leveraging the resources that will be discussed today, we can create a roadmap for economic resilience and economic sustainability. With that, I encourage each of you to take full advantage of the sessions, workshops, and networking opportunities available throughout this summit. I have to stop and say I'm most grateful to Cotton Plant, who's in the room, for coming all that distance. We appreciate you. Your active participation and engagement are crucial to the success of our collaborative mission. Together, we can build a stronger, more vibrant future for the city of Pine Bluff and for the entire region. To each of you, in present and virtual, to each of you, thank you for being here. And I look forward to the meaningful discussions and partnerships that will emerge from this summit. Thank you and welcome to Pine Bluff.
Give another hand. We accept that welcome from Mayor Shirley Washington. Next, have on program is our own Dr. Kevin King Sr., our president and CEO. He's going to speak on one USDA urban and rural area, which we are partners with USDA, FSA, NRCS, and rural development. So thank you for being on our panels this morning. So we're going to have Dr. King to come up.
So good morning to everyone, and let me express my appreciation, particularly to Mayor Washington and of course Pine Bluff, being a major city of Southeast Arkansas and a major city in the Southeast region itself, and a university city. The mayor gave reference to rural areas, some rural growth, and to some degree maybe the decline of population in Pine Bluff. But what Pine Bluff itself represents is an economic growth center for the region. Just as if you're in Northeast Arkansas, and then you say Arkansas State University, Economic Growth Center for Northeast Arkansas. And then when you look at Northwest Arkansas, University of Arkansas at Fayetteville, and Fayetteville area itself, Economic Growth Center within the context of the region. Southeast region, when we say Southeast and Eastern region, then Pine Bluff is an economic growth center itself for the region, within the context of the region itself, and the contribution that it makes to the area, both with job opportunities, economic growth from a business perspective, and those businesses, even if it's on the outskirts of the suburbs of Pine Bluff, then Pine Bluff in itself serves as that servicing unit and economic growth center, again, within the context of the region. If it's agriculture, if it's manufacturing, and other type of businesses that exist within the context of the region itself. So, Mayor, I congratulate you and thank you for your work and your leadership in the area, as well as for hosting us, having us, and letting us have the opportunity to be here with you, along with the USDA agency. I want to take somewhat of a little different approach today as we move into what we call a round table discussion with USDA, our partners, as well as with those who are participating in this particular meeting. I'm one that fully believes in engagement in meetings. I'm one that also believes in engagement of those who may be on virtually. Ask the questions, get them online, we'll respond to it either directly from an agency standpoint or with the resource agency representative. I'm going to just shift just a little bit as I get into our discussion with the resource agency come forward. Two major things that's happened from a USDA perspective just here recently, that has made headline news. Headline news nationally. One has been the final report by the Equity Commission. And that final report by the Equity Commission specifically talks about certain deficiencies that exist within the context of our underserved communities, the minority communities particularly. And when you look at a lot of our rural areas and where such a population exists, as well as, and Pine Bluff would be another example of that. The same thing as it has made the headlines as it relates to the HBCUs, which is a home base of the major, the number one HBCU within the state of Arkansas, the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. That itself is given reference to from the Equity Commission report, not just Pine Bluff itself and the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff as an HBCU, but HBCUs in general, when you talk about what has occurred to create some of the deficiencies of what we call the gap itself. The gap within the context of both opportunities, in the context of both equity within our communities, within the context of access to resources and services that exist now, and how those services have been given in the past. The other thing, as a result of that gap or those disparities, how did it come about? There's a history behind that. Now, if you look at the found report, the Equity Commission report, it gives some background and history that has occurred over the years that has put us at the place and where we are now. The history itself will give you the context of what has occurred in the past that has put us where we are now, that creates and why this disparity exists. Now, the other thing that has made, let me just go back on that. Not only does it talk about that history and talk about equity and some of the disparity that exists as it relates to equity today of those gaps, but it also talks about efforts on the part of USDA to address that issue. Now that means a lot. And that's headline news in itself. The approach that's being taken or what is being proposed, the fact we know it's an issue, we realize that, and we have set forth in this report specific recommendation and steps that need to be taken to address those deficiencies. Now, if you look at the history also, and what has gotten us to the point and where we are now, and it's not just what has been making the news and has made the news over the years when you talk about discrimination, lack of access to information, not knowing, not enough outreach and things of that nature. It's not just that. It's not just that. Sometimes it is failure to access the information that's available. Sometimes it may be just communication. No, how the communication is given as it relates to the population that need the services or the population where such a disparity exists. So how the information is communicated, and when I say how it's communicated, not just how it's communicated, from a meeting perspective, but how it's communicated when you're attempting to or going out to reach that population. It's not necessarily just a traditional way. It may be that we need to be more on the ground at the churches, talking about it at the churches, having leadership meetings with, be it both the elected officials within those communities, as well as civic groups and church organizations and church groups to talk about these are issues itself, these are the approaches being taken to address the issue, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about it not just in the meeting, but let's talk about it also outside of this meeting. Let's talk about it on Sunday morning. Let's talk about it on Wednesday night. Let's talk about it at any general gathering for the public that one may be having, because the information itself and information flow and the resources available, it does not just benefit one individual, it benefits an overall community to the extent that one benefits or others benefit or a business benefit, it has an economic impact on the entire community itself. So that's why we're here, and that's why we say one USDA, and that's why USDA is here and why they do what they do. And they are making an effort to do even more. But it's dependent upon the public as well. This is not an approach that you can take where it's just Well, we're gonna wait and see what they do. Now, we're gonna wait and see if the information is gonna get to us. Are we gonna wait and see, and we wait and see it after the fact, and you don't get the information, then after the fact, you know, you have deadlines on everything. When the deadlines come up, then they say, well, I heard about it, but I didn't get the information before. Now they said the deadline's passed. Okay, sometimes we hear about things before the deadline is up. And, you know, one of the things that's also has been looked at as a finding in the whole process. So one thing been looked at as the finding in the process, specifically with the minority community, and it has been trust. It has been trust. Sometimes we can hear things, but we don't trust what we believe to be true. Even when it comes down to resources and the process by which you can access that resource and the opportunity that it presents for us within the context of our community. It's trust. Don't get me wrong, that lack of trust has been built over the years. Our conference theme is the inheritance of disparity. The inheritance of disparity. Now, if you can inherit wealth, you can inherit non-wealth too. So he said, well, I had a great inheritance because we inherited all the wealth and how these resources come forth and how that wealth was created. Well, within the same context and what exists today, we have inherited disparity, a gap between the underserved community and the served community with the disparity and the equity that exists within these communities. So we talk about that more and how we're trying to bridge that gap to some degree, how USDA is working to bridge that gap, as well as other agencies that offer resources to the public in general from an economic development perspective. So, and that's why I say, if you have not heard about the Equity Commission's report and what that report represents, type of recommendations that are being made, and then to look forward to see based on those recommendations, then we should look at also when we see our leadership and we're having a discussion with our leadership, both elected officials, congressional officials particularly, and state legislators, then we can say, where are we on these recommendations from the Equity Commission report to address some of these deficiencies from your agenda as a leader from an elected perspective? Where are we? Where are we in addressing these recommendations within the context of the agenda to deal with these deficiencies in our local community and in our local area? That's from an agency perspective. That's from also the individuals, those who are in public office. And sometimes even to that extent, it's a matter of you may know and the individuals may not know. So again, it's a two-way street. So even to the extent that you're able to get information, then you should be also an asset for those who are in leadership positions. Say, well, okay, we didn't know about it. Let's find out more about it because you brought it to your attention. If you have an issue with your house, if you have an issue with your home, and you know you need certain resources to address those deficiencies, and there are program services available, even if it's through the city, if it's through the home program, they call home program, and I mentioned that within I'm only using that mayor as an example. If it's through the home program, Arkansas Development Finance Authority, if you don't let the mayor know, how is she going to address your issue? If it's your house or those homes within your community. So, well, this is an issue over here, and I hope we can come to some place in a common sense and how we can address these issues. So we all have a role. That's all I'm saying. We all have a role as people, as organization representatives, as leaders in these positions, as resource agency. Everybody has a role, and everybody has to play their role. I'm gonna move here right now. That's my soapbox for the day, but I can't wait to talk to you. Resource agents, individuals here, and this is gonna be a real good discussion. Let me say, I really appreciate our board member who's here also, Judge Berlin Jones. He's one of our founding board members with Arkansas Land and Farm Development Corporation, Arkansas Land and Community Development Corporation. And he's been a rock. He's been a rock for the organization. He's been a rock for me and my work, over the years. And he has been one of the #1 resources for the organization. You know, some say sometime on an average, nonprofit organization has a tendency to exist on an average of anywhere from 10 to 15 years. On an average, okay, 10, 15 years they'll be in existence. If you don't have the right people in place, and particularly the right board in place. Well, we've been in place for 44 years. 44 years. So what has been the average for many organizations over the years, and I've seen some who come and started when we started and no longer around now. You know, I can attribute that to people like Judge Jones and others on the board that represent Southeast Arkansas itself as the region that we service. We service 42 counties within the state of Arkansas. In the context of a tri-state perspective, we service 42 counties also. That's an inclusion of Mississippi and Tennessee. Those counties that's taken in the eastern region. A total, as for the impact of our work that we do, a total of 64 counties overall. From a resource perspective, we're going to talk about the resources the Natural Resource Conservation Services has to offer, and particularly the USDA agency that has been most noted for being an agency for rural communities. The man gave reference to rural communities. Well, USDA now is not just a rural organization. It is a rural and urban organization or institution. Most of it is. So USDA Natural Resource Conservation Services service both rural and urban agriculture. Again, flashcard. Urban agriculture makes the news all the time in our major urban metropolitan area. Of course, Pine Bluff is an urban area, particularly in comparison to the town where I live, 125 people versus 49,000, plus individuals. But I'm glad the mayor dealt with us as the inclusion of being the suburbs of Pine Bluff. So that means even in the populated area of 125 people, that I'm the suburb of Pine Bluff, that's 49,000 plus in population. So I'm on the suburb of Pine Bluff. So, it makes me feel good, man. I really appreciate those conversations like that. And now that we talk about urban and rural and urban agriculture, and we have to look at the same partners and the same resource agencies and how they can be very beneficial from an economic perspective within the context of our communities and our cities and our small towns and our urban cities. They now have a USDA urban farm center, right? A USDA urban farm center in Little Rock now. That's designed to service urban agriculture. Anyway, NRCS will talk about that, their role, their program services they offer from an urban perspective, and their financial assistance. And when I say financial assistance, I'm only going to use this just as a ditto point comparison basis. USDA talked about, and they put out information and they did announcements about the application for discrimination. Now, some will say we never heard anything from USDA talking about the application for discrimination. Well, that's not true. They did. They made announcements and they talked about it. I only say that because, some calls that we've been having now. So, no, that's not true because they talked about it in our meetings. And they passed out information in our meetings when we did the meeting joint. So I know FSA passed out information and gave out information. They did not work and did not have a responsibility to work directly in the application process, but from an information perspective, in that standpoint, USDA did provide public information. I'm just saying this for the record, public information as it relates to the application for discrimination for financial assistance. I just want to say that. Maybe we should have had some more meetings over here sooner before the application deadline was up. But they did do that now. They did do that. And I don't work for USDA, but I don't want to say that because, sometimes you throw a pebble and it seems like it's only going to be a little wave and you end up having a flood coming around, for misinformation. So I want to say that just for the record regarding USDA. But NRCS will talk about financial assistance, and this is over and beyond and far more in resources. A type of resource that can be beneficial for NRCS, but they'll talk about that, in rural areas. Well, same thing applies would apply also in urban areas. It depends upon what you're working to do or wanting to do with that capital or that land resource. The other one is going to be the opportunities for veterans, beginning farmers, farm service agencies. They have a beginning farm program. Why is that important? We say beginning farmer FSA because one may want to become a beginning urban farmer. So if you want to become a beginning urban farmer, then they have specific resources available. Just if you're opening up a manufacturing operation, if you're just starting and want to get into becoming an urban farmer, then FSA is your resource agency to work with. Now we will work with you or coordinate. And we're gonna have some discussion about that once they have made their presentation. Both an opportunity for you to ask questions, and I'm sure some questions I'll have to ask them to make sure we're getting the information to you in a way that it is very clear, both the benefits, the opportunity, and how to access. So we're gonna talk about that. So resource for beginning and underserved farmers and landowners, and for veterans, we'll talk about that Farm Service Agency. And I'm not gonna go over all the long process and the certification and things of that nature and what's involved. USDA rural development, is the other. Now, I really have some questions for USDA rural development. Now, I know that they have a population, limitation that they have to work with. But again, the mayor gave reference to the suburb bases and other rural areas, and she realized that, and how Pine Bluff is an economic development center. And we should recognize that and look at it from that perspective as an economic growth center for the region within Southeast Arkansas. So that anything from the rural perspective and accessing and knowing certain information, then of course one may look to Pine Bluff and where the USDA offices are located in the Jefferson County area, and they'll talk about the counties and the areas they're located in, rural development located in, and those resources they have offered from a business and industry perspective, from housing, from an infrastructure standpoint, even smaller towns. Sometimes those mayors will be dependent upon more urban towns, our cities like Pine Bluff, to receive to get information as it relates to what some of their needs may actually be for infrastructure, water, sewer system, technology areas. All of these are areas that USDA rural development works in and provide resource opportunities in. The other area, again, I gave reference to Farm Service Agency, USDA rural development. We're going to talk about air property. You will be surprised to what extent air property can serve both as a barrier, one. It can also serve as have an adverse impact in our local community. I don't care if you're urban, rural, wherever it is. In urban areas, you'll find that a lot of times you have air property that the grandparents and great-grandparents have moved on. A homestead, a housestead was left. One family member may have stayed there for a period of time, but the fact that they have property, they can't access any resources, do any rehab on the house or on the property, and it continues to deteriorate, and then it's abandoned. And then it eventually becomes the city's property. It becomes a situation where after it's abandoned, then the city has to place fines against those individuals or the owners of that particular property. Then of course folks are talking about why they find it. Well, they find it because abandoned property and things of that nature have the tendency to draw other situations or create other issues in the local community. Crime and other things have the tendency to occur. Plus, the main thing that it attributes to having a negative effect on those who have homes in the community, maybe invest in those communities. The marketability of those homes and what it does to the community, which means it can depreciate the value of property, the value of the property in the area if one property is not kept up in a certain manner, or just abandoned, and other things start to occur from that perspective. But air property, we'll talk more about that. That the Unified Air Property Act itself, what that act represents, is not the same as it was years ago. If one air was in disagreement with other heirs, and they petition the courts that they want their interests out. And then the court saying, I must say Judge Jones was a major player in working with us, and that took us 20 years and finally got changed. But if one heir filed a petition to get that interest out of the property, then the property goes to the courts, it was automatically auctioned off and sold. Normally, in most cases that occurred, it was for less than half of what the actual value was of that property. So that law doesn't exist anymore. It's been modified or changed, and we can talk about that more, but not only from that perspective, can it be negative for individual families, it's also a barrier when you're trying to access other resources that can be beneficial to you as that land or that real estate is an asset, but then it disables you in accessing those other resources. Again, that could be a part of building both wealth and equity within the context of the family or from that particular asset holding that you have. But we talk about air property as well, so. Technology and drones in agriculture. We are involved in some projects that deal with drones and benefits of drones and both in agriculture, but drones are used really pretty much across the playing field now in a lot of areas. They're used by law enforcement, they're used by forestry services, but they're also used to be very beneficial in ranching, if you're dealing with ranching. Some use it in implementing or dealing with certain, some research. You can deal with it from a research perspective, for scouting fields, you can use it for that purpose as well. But we have to be more knowledgeable of the advancement of technology itself and how that technology can be beneficial to us, particularly as farmers, small farmers, large farmers, they're keeping up with it. A friend of mine was telling me he was talking to a farmer, and he's running a large-size farming operation, and he said he asked him if he was familiar with the drones, they had been dealing with drones with his farming operation. He said to him, yeah, I got 5. I said, he has 5 drones. He said, yeah, he has 5 drones. He has some guys that have been trained to operate his drones when they're scouting and dealing with his field, but they're checking on the levees and things like that. They're not running out all across those fields and stuff, because he's from about 10,000 acres. Of course, I try to have 5 drones too. But anyway, you have to imagine, I'm laughing, but you have to imagine 10,000 acres of a farming operation, Of course, that's not a big farm, believe it or not. That's probably mid-size farm. 10,000 acres, that's not really what you call a corporate large farm, but technology, understanding technology, benefits of technology, how it can benefit you. University of Arkansas has a engineering department, and they have a drone program. UAPB does. So when these young people, they want to deal with technology and say, Mom, Dad, I want to get a drone. Don't get them one done. Drones can be very expensive. Get them a small drone so they can start to learn to fly those drones and operate within the context of the program and computer operation, things of that nature. Because, again, the benefits of them, how they're used, and it can make certain aspects, particularly on the labor, make it more cost effective as to how you get your work done. So I'm gonna stop at this point now. Ms. Janie has raised her hand, and my time has been out. And I'm gonna let the other resource agencies come forward, and we'll have our discussions after that. I hope you guys are ready, because I got a bunch of questions to follow you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. King. So you all just get ready, sit back and relax. And there will be more extended information on programs that's offered for our new and beginning farmers. So we're gonna start with natural resource conservation services with Shannara starting. So Shannara, okay, all right, you want to sit where you are, you want to stand? Okay.
Hi, everybody. My name is Shannara Starler, and I'm with the Natural Resource Conservation Service. And I have my sidekick with me.
Yes, I'm Darius Smith. I'm also a soil because with NRCS. Today we're here to talk about the different programs for NRCS and initiative. But first, I got thrown into it, but she asked me, could I be here with us? So I said, yeah. So first thing first, what you'll need to do first is contact your Foreign Service agency. And things that you'll need to bring with you is your proof of identity, which is your driver license, social security card, your IRS EIN number. Also bring your proof of ownership on the land, which is your deed, or if you lease the land, and your entity identification status, which could be your incorporation, trust, estate documents, and partnership agreements. Also, while you at the Foreign Service Agency, you'll need to fill out a adjusted gross income certification form, a 1026, which is a high erodible land conservation and wetland conservation certification. And with us, you have to fill out a 902, which is a foreign operating plan for individual or entity. And also, I'll turn it over to Shannara.
Well, everybody, so we have programs that we have to offer. So they're all cost share programs. So we like to use a lot of short term, so we call it EQUIP. So that stands for the Environmental Quality Initiative Program. So that program provides technical and financial assistance to producers to address the natural resources concerns that are there on their land. Some of the resource concerns that people have had are improving, they need to improve their water quality and air quality, or reducing soil erosion. So those are some of the resource concerns that we tend to try to address. So we also have another program called CSP, that stands for Conservation Stewardship Program. So that's kind of like a piggyback of EQUIP. So EQUIP is kind of for beginning farmers and everything. That's kind of like where you want to start. And CSP is kind of like the enhancement. So if you're already doing something that's that you already done in EQUIP and you want to enhance it, that is what CSP is there for, to enhance what you already have done or started doing. We also, with FSA, we have another program called CRP, it's Conservation Reserve Program. So that also provides a yearly rental payment to farmers who remove environmental sensitive land from agriculture production and plant species that will improve environmental health and quality. So that program is there for people that wants to take out, put in their, just went blank, for forestry. That's mostly for forestry, so you're taking it out. We also have a couple initiatives that been in the past, so you kind of have to keep up with it with like farmers.gov, that the time there are the dates and times to sign up and everything. So a couple of our initiatives that we have is MBRI, Migratory Birds Reserve initiative, we got a high tunnel initiative, grazing land conservation initiative, landscape conservation initiative, on farm energy initiative, and organic initiative. So if you have any questions, we'll be here and we'll stick around and you can ask big questions y'all want.
Also, we're not sure if people know this, but as far as on the application, when you filling out the application, it's a section that has your historically underserved part on there, which are, it says limited resources, whether you're a veteran, farmer, rancher, if you're socially disadvantaged or
Limited
yeah, limited resources. Yeah, I see that. I'm sorry. Oh, beginning farmer and rancher, that's the one I forgot. So with the limited resources, it's for anybody who is below the national poverty level of a family of four. And you're qualified, it's HU. For a beginning farmer and rancher, it's anybody who has not farmed for more than 10 years. And for a veteran farmer and rancher, you has to be within the recent 10 years. Yeah, recent 10 years of a veteran. And also if you're a veteran, please remember your discharge date, because on the application, we need that for you to put it in our program. And for socially disadvantaged, it's basically for minority groups. It says on here, it says American Indians or Alaskan Natives, Asian, Blacks or African Americans, Native Hawaiians or Pacific Islanders or Hispanics. So if you qualify for any of those, please do not forget to check that box on the application. And if you need any questions, we actually have some applications on the table in the green folder. They have our business cards, we have applications in there, fact sheets about all the programs. And I think that's it. But if you have any questions, you're able to take a question now.
Yes, sir.
How y'all doing?
Okay.
My name is Larry, and so one question that I had was, so if I was gifted some land from my nonprofit to do some housing out there and rehabbing and teaching how to farm, would I go up under the gentleman's farm number who gifted me the land, or do I need to get my own farm number and things like that?
You would have to get your own, because it's kind of like he gifted you the land, so you're not always on it, so it's kind of like a leasing thing. So you'll have to get your own farming tract number, but it's still, you have to have like a lease, so you have to bring in like a lease and it keeps letting you farm this land, so.
One question, I understood this question. You said they had gifted you the land, they're giving you the land?
Yes, in order to
So it's yours. now.
Yeah, so you actually have ownership. If you have ownership and they have deeded the land over to you.
okay, it wasn't deeded.
Okay, it wasn't deeded, but in other words, he gave you basically a letter or a statement of gift.
Yes.
Okay, that he has given the land to you. You need to put that in, make that legal. The first point I would say is you need to make it legal. If it's just a word of mouth, you know, that definitely is not good. Okay, because he's told you he's giving it to you, so that's not going to work for the agency. Okay. Two, if he has it in writing, if he has put it in writing, the fact that, you know, I, John Doe, so donate, I give this land to you for $0 dollars, then I would advise you to take that to an attorney and have him create you a deed of ownership for that property.
So, okay, well, what if he's just allowing me to use the land?
If he's only allowing you to use the land, now here's what NRCS said. in RCS, first you're gonna go to Farm Service Agency. And if you go to Farm Service Agency to get a farm number, you have to have some proof that you have control of that land. It has to be written proof. It has to be either a lease agreement, you have to have, you can have certain other means that if you're paying the taxes in your name, if it's not in your name, it's someone else's name, then, a tax receipt is not gonna work. But you'd have to have proof of control of that property by way of it's been deeded to you, or it is being leased to you for a time period. And if it's gonna be in the framework of a lease, I would recommend that you get that lease at minimum of 7 years, to make sure that you can meet the compliance time period of any program that you apply for within RCS. Now, am I right on that?
Yes.
Okay, so that's one of the things, but verbally, what they say, it won't work. It will not work. It has to be in writing, a statement of documentation in writing with his signature, and I would suggest you get that in writing and notarized, by an individual.
The other problem that he might encounter is, like you said, air property. If the county has the name under, say, his grandfather or his father, and he's caretaking the land, for his family, then that poses a problem too, because he doesn't really, you have to establish the fact that he is acting on behalf of the other heirs, so, but you just said it's in his name, so.
Yes.
If he owns just get that in writing and have it notarized. And once you get that in writing, that they'll gift that property to you, for no payment, as a donation or as a gift, then I would get that to an attorney to get it legally deeded over to you. And it's best to do it sooner than later. Because if something happens to him or her, then, then verbally, it's out the door.
Right, okay. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I have some questions in reference to the cost share programs.
Yes, sir.
And one of those, you talked about environmental quality, conservation, stewardship program, and the conservation resource program, which include forestry. So if you're looking at the forestry program, does it matter whether that land is in the city limits or not?
No,
It
it
doesn't matter.
No, so,
So,
I think with the CRP, I think it's taken from going from cropland to forestry land. So.
from cropland,
so you're taking it out of production and you
But
going
going
into
into,
forestry.
okay, going into forestry.
No,
So
man,
doesn't John's Equip or CSP have a forestry?
Yes,
You have, but
Or already established?
yes, you can put your land under our equip program as a forestry, and we have press for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. Now, Mayor, they do have a forestry program. They have a conservation program that deals with forestry. If you're taking undergrowth out and things of that nature, that may be detrimental to, say, healthy trees, and you want your trees to grow better. And you have something I call brush type plants and stuff like that hamper the growth of those trees. But if the city owns property, the city can also utilize the conservation program. All right? If it city owns the land.
Not all the way sure on that.
Okay, go back and
So
read
we
up on
will
that.
research on that.
Yeah, that's the thing, we look at the urban forestry, the urban forestry, we can talk about that further. But particularly if people who may have wooded areas in the city limits, then Mayor, I would encourage you to give those property owners, particularly if it's in the best interest of the city, that they look at the conservation program to better manage their wooded land area they have in the city limits.
Thank you.
But you mentioned equip also.
Well, I was just looking at what she mentioned, she was talking about erosion, I was thinking about erosion. So we're looking at like 24 acres that we're not ready to use right now. And I think under that program, do you have some, programs that will prohibit erosion, like flower growing programs, wildflower programs?
It's so
So what kind of crops?
cover
Cover
crops
crops.
and.
Cover crops. So do you reserve the land, or does it have to be a program that you sign up for X number of years? How does that work?
So our equip program is 3 years, so your
Okay.
contract will be 3 years with a fourth extra year for maintenance. So in case you can't get everything in the 3 years,
Yeah.
that one extra year is like, okay, you can get it done.
Okay, so let's say we have this 27 acres that we can't use right now. It will be at least 3 or more years before we'll be ready to use it. So during that period, we could sign up with one of these programs, and how do we benefit from that?
Okay, so how it works, come in, do your application and stuff, you sit with us and tell us what you have to, like you just did.
Yeah.
And then we'll go out and, it'll probably be us or, the DC or, Tex, they'll come out and do a field visit with you.
A field visit?
Yes, we'll come to your property, call you, schedule a field visit with you to see whatever day is available with you. So, come out, do a field visit to address the resource concern.
Mhm.
We address the resource concern, come back and put it in the plan.
Mhm.
We plan everything and
Let you look over.
let you look over and everything, and if everything right, we put it in the system called CART. That's where the ranking and stuff comes from, and you get in, the ranking shoots out a score. And I think it, like the people who stayed off, they do the picking and stuff.
Yeah, so they distribute out the money
Yeah.
from the equip,
So you have to get pre-approved first before you can do anything. Before you can do any cover crops with us, you gotta get pre-approved first.
Mhm.
And if you get pre-approved, we'll call you. And we'll do the obligation of your plan and basically more paperwork. And
and so after that, after everything is kind of said and done, you sign the contract saying this is how much we're gonna pay. And then you, like I said, it's a cost share, so you have to put money into it as well.
Yeah, let me just say, tell me if I'm wrong on this. Now, I know you used to call it cost share, and now I know, it's not something I call financial assistance.
Mhm.
In a particular case like this, if that was certain work that you may have equipment, the city folk to do some of the work. Then that's what it may be, doing some trenching or whatever, on that property and moving certain things out of the way. But it is a financial assistance program. At one time, some of you hear them say 90%, but not necessarily 90%. But the financial assistance, it may possibly, may not cover 100%. It just depends.
Right,
It just depends upon how you implement the plan. But the question was, how can it benefit the city? It can benefit the city, one, is to address the erosion issue that you're dealing with. And it's beneficial to the city because you will receive financial assistance to get your work done. Two major benefits: addressing the problem itself. It may be taking undergrowth out. It may be reducing a fire hazard type situation because of undergrowth and all that exists there. That could happen, within on that property, in that area, in dry brush or taking that. Now, in dealing with that, because you're talking about forestry property, I would suggest, and I don't know, I may be wrong on this, but y'all correct me if I'm wrong, that you engage a team, both NRCS and Forestry Service. You said it's wooded land, right?
Okay, these are two separate properties.
Okay.
One property I'm thinking of is forestry, it's
Okay.
wooded land.
Okay, good.
And the other is just going grass.
Okay, well,
There's nothing there, there's 27 acres, but we're having to mow. So I had heard about a wildflower program that NRCS had. And even if we were to grow wildflowers, and I was thinking about, since y'all heard it, that maybe we could go into one of those programs for like a 3-year period. Cause we may want to do something with it within I would want to go for an extended 10 or 20-year period.
let me suggest this in the process, and here's what I think I hear the agency saying. And you have a combination of both forest and you have open land. One, there's urban farm. I would find me a good urban farm and lease that open land to them for a particular, I'm just saying, if you lease it to them, they're gonna get reduced and get the benefit of the program. So the issue regarding land is gonna get addressed. Now, you can also have a urban farm for the city. But then you got different production properties, whatever's gonna be taking place on that. So one or two ways is possibility, but either way, conservation. Being with the CRP program, you're saying you're putting in more forest, you're putting more trees in. I don't think you want that on your open land. So you want to keep the land open. I'm sure there's some practice that could be employed, that could do a lot of things. It may be dealing with, I'm saying bee program, but it's not bee, you call it, what do you call it? Yeah, it may be the pollination program. Now, pollination programs are very good for the city and any plants that are being produced, both trees, flowers, and everything else. So you may want to put a pollination program on that as one of the conservation practices. They have all kind of practices, but to get a full assessment from USDA, NRCS, and get a team out there. And the fact that forestry is involved, and we all work partnership with Forestry Service, then I would suggest you get your team with both Forestry Services, NRCS, and Arkansas Land Community Development Corporation, and University of Arkansas Pine Bluff.
So that, with the forest, I'm kind of piggybacking
Mhm.
off, so for the forestry part of that land, our foresters, like you said, we work with our foresters, so
Right.
they write the plan for us.
Right.
So they tell us like, hey, you need to put this practice in to make sure that, they'll tell us what we need to do.
Exactly.
So that's for the betterment of the whole thing in the long run. So for our, for that program. Now, the pollinators, that's more like an equip thing. And you put pollinators out and they bring in pollinators and it blossoms from there. So.
What type of land is it? Like, is it pasture?
Right now, it's just open.
Just open land.
Open
Yeah.
field.
So not definitely. Like I said, we'll be here, y'all. If y'all still have any questions, we'll still be
Any
here.
more questions?
Or any more questions.
But you mentioned equal. Now, the other part about the equal program at urban farmers is, as she said, hoop houses. Hoop house is a practice under equip, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so equip, hoop house, you get reference to hoop house. It's not just the part of being an incentive program, but under the equip program, you can have a hoop house built, which extends the growing period for an urban farmer to really almost year round. And they have some pretty large hoop houses that you can put in. When you say urban agriculture, equip program, you have a farm number, you can have a hoop house put in, as well as other practices that are the equivalent of the CSP practices, conservation stewardship practice. Now, conservation stewardship practice, she said, is an enhancement program, but you can have a part of that equip program with a hoop house. You may employ certain practices that can be enhanced. When you go back after that compliance period is up, that 3-year compliance period is up, then you can sign up for the CSP, Conservation Stewardship Practices Program. Now, what that does is this. The minimum payment for conservation program payments now, even our urban farm and the equip with the hoop house is what, $4,500 or $4,000?
It depends.
But I'm saying the minimum now, the floor payment for not just the overall.
It's 4,000.
4,000, okay, I thought it was 4,000, yeah.
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 Uh-huh.
Okay, well, that's all, yeah, I thought it was $4,000. They must have some more NRCS people know about it. Well, as I said, people, everybody, this is, sometimes we have more people virtual than we have in person, so it is online, you can also go to our website, so people can still ask questions, post those. Family, it's $4,000, the minimum payment is $4,000 on the conservation program, dealing with conservation stewardship. So I want to make sure those in the audience, understand when you have the financial assistance, phase one, in getting the program up and implementing the program, the conservation program. Then you have the incentive program under conservation stewardship program itself, and where you can sign up for that and that conservation stewardship practice. But basically, overall minimum payment itself, $4,500 to individuals as you are urban farmers. It can be on a lot. It could be a half acre, it could be a quarter of an acre, whichever, and having a hoop house put on there, then that's $4,500. That also lends itself to support farmers markets that you have in the area, because we have a market outlet for those type farms and the urban farms. And it directly enhances economic growth and development in the area, from an agricultural perspective. So that's a big opportunity for urban areas right now, urban farm and urban agriculture. So that's it, 4,000. Yeah.
So I have one more thing, sorry, y'all. So for the high tunnels, hoop houses, there's we have a lot of people that are trying to get into it now. In the urban part of Pine Bluff, and it's kind of a hassle to get into, to get a high tunnel now inside the city limits. So kind of right now, we're having a problem with that, with zoning.
Okay, okay.
So if you're kind of in the city limits of Pine Bluff, kind of.
So we've had people who have applied and zoning has looked at those and they're not approving them because of regulations as they're done now. So, does a person have to have, how do you go about determining whether you have the space for it?
How you determine so it really depends on what size that fits.
Okay.
So but that's when our techs come out and we measure and make sure, like, okay, this is how big you can have it, or you can have a smaller one. It just determines on
Have you had a conversation or you've sat down and had a meeting with the zoning folk?
No.
I think that's what needs to happen. And then we'll have to go from there to the planning commission. Seeing how we'll work that out, but I think that conversation needs to be held with the zoning department. And we can't put hoop houses everywhere.
Right.
Because some people put hoop houses in areas that is so unsightly that if somebody's putting a hoop house in some certain places, like people will be opposed. But then there are some areas that it would be permissible. So I think those are the things that need to be discussed with the zoning team.
Okay.
And then we would need to look at some of the regulations that are in other communities where they have hoop houses within the city limits.
Okay.
Let me just say this with NRC as FSA, man, we'd be more than happy to work with you, happy the planning commission on that. I know it does come down to certain ordinance, in cities. I have visited some larger cities, and some of the larger cities, they actually did that urban farm planning, where they were going to plan and where, and looked at the city and the overall plan for the cities, areas that where they wanted to put and implement urban farms.
Yes.
Out there in those cities, Cincinnati and some of the other Georgia, Atlanta area. But that's I would also recommend to you and to the USDA individuals that might need to be a meeting. If it's with the planning commission and zoning, commission, that meeting would possibly need to be with the USDA Urban Agriculture Office, USDA Urban Ag Office, along with those particular officials, and they would bring to the table, the ones that would probably represent, this area. Yeah, but they would probably be the one to take the lead on that, the urban farm, USDA urban farm office would go on.
Thank y'all. You're welcome.
Oh, someone else.
Simple.
Yeah, it's a two-part question. First person, they said they have a foreign LLP and they want to know, some kind of guidance as to how to register in Arkansas. I don't know who that would be addressed to. And second question, they want the NRCS people's contact information.
Have a business card.
Can you please repeat the first
It is
question?
They have,
So the two-part question is what now?
they have a foreign LLP and they want to register in Arkansas. They want some guidance on what steps to take.
What do you say, boy,
A foreign LLP.
A foreign account number?
Foreign LLP.
LLP?
He said LLP.
Partnership.
Oh, my LLC.
Uh-huh.
Oh, corporation. Okay, so they have a corporation that is registered outside the state of Arkansas? Okay.
Outside the country.
If it's out of Arkansas and it's a limited liability corporation, you have to get that corporation registered in the state of Arkansas. Now, Judge Jones is here, but I think that registration normally goes to the Secretary of State's office. Am I right there?
Yeah.
Right, so you would have to deal with that through the Secretary of State's office. You would need to register that agency, that business, with the state of Arkansas through the Secretary of State's office.
He goes right over there. He needs a registered agent in Arkansas.
You need a registered agent in Arkansas?
He said it's a foreign entity. So that's why he's needing a registered agent, and I don't know anything about how to do all that.
You can get a registered agent in Arkansas, but I would, if they talk with the Secretary of State's office about what they're trying to do, call the Secretary of State's office. I know they can give you guidance on that, on exactly what you would need to do in the process. If it's a matter of you having a registered agent within the state of Arkansas, as well as registering the individual, I do understand what you're saying. If you're incorporating or setting up a corporation itself, a new corporation as a limited liability corporation, then you may have a board of directors and then you have a registered agent. So that person that would be the registered agent for the corporation itself. So if you need a registered agent, if that person is not going to serve as the registered agent, possibly because they're not a citizen in Arkansas, then they could possibly get an attorney's office to serve as a registered agent on an individual. In essence, that will be the registered agent for that corporation in the state. But the Secretary of State's office can give you specific directives on that and what will be required in the state.
Thank you.
That's all.
That it? Online?
That's it.
Thank you. Good morning. Sorry, good afternoon.
Yeah.
I am Marissa Harris with USDA Rural Development. We're located in the federal building, the main post office building, on the second floor, room 2107. And with rural development, we have various programs. We've been known to say that we can build a community from the ground up. But I will talk about a couple of the programs that I work on myself. And then Mr. Tommy James, he'll come back and talk about the other ones because I apologize, but I do have to step out for previous obligation. So with real estate and rural development, we have a program called Community Facilities. It's our Community Facilities Direct Loan and Grant Program. This program provides affordable funding to develop essential community facilities in rural areas.
An essential community facility is a facility that provides an essential service to that local community. But it does not include private, commercial, or business undertakings. Those who may apply for the community facilities programs are public bodies, community-based nonprofit organizations, and federally recognized tribes. The Community Facilities Direct Loan and Grant Program does have a population limit. So rural areas, the eligible areas will include rural areas, including cities, villages, townships, and towns, including federally recognized tribal lands with no more than 20,000 residents, according to the U.S. Census data for the program. So of course, for this program, the city of Pine Bluff is not eligible, but we do service 14 counties in Southeast Arkansas, and those counties include Jefferson. We've done plenty of loans and grants with Wabaseka, Altimer, those small communities that Pine Bluff is the metropolitan area. We also serve Grant County, Lincoln, Cleveland, Chico, Drew, Ashley, Calhoun, Ouachita, Dallas, DeShay, Bradley, Union, and Columbia County. So the Monticello area office and the Pine Bluff area, we service 14 counties in Southeast Arkansas. How can the funds be used? So since they are applied for by public bodies and community-based nonprofit organizations, the funds can be used to purchase, construct, and/or improve community facilities, purchase equipment, and pay related project expenses. So for instance, I mentioned Altimer. For them, they needed a generator for their city hall because of the fact that power were not to be there. They would need a generator in order to keep business operations going until power was restored. So that's very important in a small town. Also, for the town of Hermitage, they're in our area, we've done a generator for their city hall and then computers for them to be able to use. Other examples are healthcare facilities such as hospitals, medical clinics, dental clinics, nursing homes, or assisted living facilities. We've done a project, partnered with a project in McGee, Arkansas, where the hospital there were able to get new nurse call buttons, I think new beds to assist, but anything that a rural hospital would need to make them, I can't say comparable to a city agency, but at least make the citizens have somewhere that they can go, that they can get the same services where they may not have to drive to Little Rock or Pine Bluff. Also, we have public facilities such as town halls, courthouses, airport hangars, and street improvements. Community support services such as child care centers, community centers, fairgrounds, or transitional housing. We've done transportation and buses for child care centers, so anything that it takes for that rural community to be able to address the needs of their community. Also, we've done a lot of projects with public safety services such as fire departments, police stations, prisons, police vehicles, fire trucks, public works vehicles, or equipment. We always receive a lot of applications every year for police cars in small towns, fire trucks in small towns, dump trucks, what a small town may need for their street department, road graders. So we're able to help any small community under 20,000 with that kind of equipment. And also local food systems such as community gardens, food pantries, community kitchens, food banks, and food hubs. So the financing that is available for those kind of projects that are applied for by public bodies and community-based nonprofits are low interest direct loans, grants, or a combination of the two above, as well as a loan guarantee program. So we have low interest direct loans, and the interest rate of those loans are determined by the rural development at a certain time. I didn't bring interest rate information for this month. I apologize for that. Also, we have grants. Grants are not automatic. If a small town, once we look at their financial information and we determine that they need a grant in order to
assist them to meet the needs of the application that they've given us, then at that point, a grant would be feasible. So a grant is not for the full amount of a project. The eligibility for the town for the grant is based on the metropolitan household income and the population of the area. So every county in Arkansas has a different grant eligibility because it's based on the MHI and the population of that area. So grant eligibility can be from 15% to 75%. The terms for a direct loan, if a county or city or nonprofit would like to apply for a direct loan, the terms can be up to 40 years or the useful life of whatever property, equipment, whatever the item is that they are trying to purchase. So if anyone is eligible in this program, the application process is a lot for me to explain in this kind of setting, but we really would welcome that if you know, maybe you all live in a small town and you want to take it to your city council or your mayor, and you know that it's something they may benefit from. I will leave some cards here. Call me in the office. We have a pre-application guide that we like to use to kind of go through what's needed, because of course that town and nonprofit will have to supply us with financials, their proposed budget, city council meeting minutes saying that we want to do this project. So there are a lot of things that we have to have that encompass the application. So it's kind of hard to talk to in this kind of setting. So I was giving an overview so that if it sounds like it's something you may be able to help your town, city, nonprofit with, call us at the office and I can give more specific information based on whatever your situation is. Also, under the community programs, we have water and waste disposal loan and grant program. This program provides funding for clean and reliable drinking water systems, sanitary sewage disposal, sanitary solid waste disposal, and stormwater drainage to households and businesses in eligible rural areas. Who may apply for this program? Again, it's most state and local government entities, private nonprofits, and federally recognized tribes. So again, neither one of these programs is for individuals. What is an eligible area? An eligible area for the water and waste disposal program are rural towns and areas with populations of 10,000 or less, tribal lands in rural areas. And again, the funding that is available, it can be as a direct loan. There may be a grant available or guaranteed loans. The funds may be used for drinking water sourcing, treatment, storage, and distribution, sewer collection, transmission, treatment, and disposal, solid waste collection, disposal, stormwater collection, transmission, and disposal. So rural development is heavily involved in the rural communities as far as the areas, outskirts areas of Pine Bluff. Rural Development Finance LAG Water, which is out on 425. Watson Chapel Water Association is financed by Rural Development. Hardin, Reed, and Whitehall, 270 area, that's financed by Rural Development. So as you all can tell in this area, those water systems are financed by Rural Development, or they've gotten funds to maybe fix their water treatment plan or do just different things with it. So those are kind of an overview of the programs that I work for, community programs with rural development. I really apologize, I don't have time for questions because I have to be on a call at 1, but Mr. James will take any questions that you have, but I will leave my card. I'm located in Pine Bluff on the 2nd floor if you want to call me or come by.
Now, just as one very quick, say Pine Bluff not qualified. Now, under the energy program, Pine Bluff would qualify, right?
I believe they will, but I am not.
You're not on the energy.
Thank you.
Okay,
So I won't take that question.
okay.
But thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marissa. Tommy, is he coming up or do we go back to FSA? All right. Next, we're gonna have FSA and as I said, the gentleman, was asking with the gifted acres that possibly given to you or. So I wasn't for sure if you have to change your farm numbers, or farm number. Unless it, it was gonna be divided some acres or part of the acres, all the acres. So I'm gonna let them clarify that. So you wanna come up, Stephanie? Thank you.
My name is Stephanie Rogers, and I'm with the Jefferson County Farm Service Agency. And Kyle Harrod is our ag credit manager, so we're together but separate today. So the answer to her question is, if the land is already registered with USDA, then you would not be required to get a new farm number. Unless, like she said, you only have control of a part of it or something like that, and you would want to reconstitute it and just separate out the part that you want to deal with. And that way, then you're just, taking care of what you want to take care of. But you would basically bring in your either new deed, and we would place your name on the farm or the filed. It has to be a copy of the filed deed so that it's been recorded with the county. And then we would change the ownership on the existing farm number, or we would establish a new farm number if it's not been registered with us before. So FSA is basically, I kind of look at us as the front door of the USDA agencies, because you do have to come through us, and you basically bring in your deeds, your leases, whatever you have going on that you would like to use to participate in a USDA program. And in our office in FSA, you'll complete a form with your name and address, social security number, your name and address, and tax ID number. Then you provide us with the deeds, we establish your farm numbers. We also have all of the eligibility documentation that's needed for the programs for FSA and NRCS. Those that they listed, the adjusted gross income, the highly erodible wetland conservation form, the 1026, the CCC 902, which is the farm operating plan. And it basically, there's different ones for different producers, landowners. There's not a lot that you fill out on the 902 as opposed to an actual farming entity. If you're just a natural resource participant, then that you're not required to provide as much information as you would be if you're participating in, say, the what we call the ARC-PLC program. The form that you fill out to register your name or your business name is the AD 2047. And on that form, you also have the opportunity to disclose demographic information when they talk about programs that are for different ethnicities and things. You have an opportunity in gender, you have an opportunity to disclose on that form. And then we also have a form that's the 860, CCC, I think 860. And that's the form that when you participate, that the computer can go out there and say, yes, he's registered as a veteran, or yes, he's registered as socially disadvantaged, or yes, he's registered as a socially disadvantaged ethnic group or whatever. You can also register as a woman, but under a lot of the historically underserved, women are not included on all those programs, but they are on some. So it's important to complete that 860, because that helps with eligibility in most of our programs. I'm not really sure. FSA actually handles the Conservation Reserve Program. The other conservation programs are handled through NRCS. NRCS, the Forestry Service, and Game and Fish are the technical agencies that are used for the Conservation Reserve Program, though. So you make your application with Farm Service Agency, and then we send those applications out to Natural Resource Conservation, the Arkansas Forestry Service, and Arkansas Game and Fish, and they write up plans for the different things that you want to take care of. Those plans, if you're doing a shallow water area, those plans are 10-year. And the other programs that we have, you can go anywhere from 10 to 15 years. We do, Ms. Washington, we do grasses in CRP, with pollinators and all that. But where CRP is restrictive, if you want to use that word, as opposed to equip, CRP is taking cropland out of production and placing it into a conservation program. So you have to have ownership of that ground for a year, or you have to have basically tenancy operatorship of that ground for 12 months prior to the application. And that ground had to have been farmed 4 of the 6 years from 2012 through 2017. Now, we are in the process of being at the end of a farm bill. So we're waiting on Congress to update the farm bill. And in that update, they may change those cropping years. They may not. Usually they kind of move it forward a couple of years every time. But I don't know what they're gonna do with the new one. So that's where CRP is a little bit more restrictive than EQIP, because you are taking cropland out of production and putting it into these programs, and you had to have farmed the ground for those 6 years. For CRP, we do lots of different things. We do trees, we do wetland restoration, we do grasses, native grasses. This sonnet season has been trees and wetland restoration, where you do the farmers do more soil units, kind of a deep subsoil of the ground, and you can plant millet. You can plant millet's the biggest one I think that people plant in this area. Sometimes we install a water control structure. You get into NRCS engineers help us with that, which is a shallow levee, and you release the water in the spring, let it dry out, kind of clean it up. You can plant that millet in that wet area, that drained area, and then close it off and let it reflood over the winter for ducks and other forest animals. I'm trying to think what else was on the agenda that I needed to speak to for you. I guess questions, that's the two things
And
that
air
are on there.
property, CRP.
Okay, you've basically covered air property with a lot of the knowledge that you've shared with everybody. So if you have an air property situation when you come in for a farm number, Arkansas is one of the uniform air properties states. So, I put these on the table. So this is really good information, and it basically tells you if you have air property, these are some of the things that you can do to help with ownership of the property. And one of them, the biggest one I think we use here in Jefferson County, is a tax record kind of situation. Going and getting basically a statement of heirship, and then having your names placed on the tax record here in the county.
But FSA offers a financial assistance to third parties for the air property. The CDFI, that you have the air property program, but the loan assistance for individuals who want to get finance to buy other, you're gonna talk about that?
Yeah, I got some stuff
Okay.
on there, property.
Okay. Yeah, one quick question I have I know you're on the program side, but EIN now, the EIN number is pretty much so necessary when you're participating in FSA program in order for them to receive payments, direct deposit payments, for them to automatically get the benefit of such program, when sign up.
Well, EIN is basically for those like corporations, trusts, LLCs, LLPs, and their IRS assigned numbers that you use when you file your taxes. I think they're also necessary for like business transactions so that you can help get tax credits and things like that. Yeah, if you're gonna farm as an LLC, then you're gonna need an EIN number.
One question, on the program side, what programs right now? I think I was reading that there are a couple of programs that they recently announced that farmers can sign up for, payment programs, what's it, the disaster assistance, that has a timeline limitation on
So right now we have ERP track 2 that's going on right now, and I think it closes on the 14th of this month, and that is an income based. Track 1 was a crop insurance thing.
Okay,
If you had a crop insurance claim and received payment through crop insurance, you were also eligible for track 1 payments. Track 2 is an income based thing, and your 2022 farm income had to have been less than 2018. 2018's farm income.
so if your 2022 income was less than your 2018 income, then you qualify for that program.
For track 2.
For track 2, and those payments are based on what?
I honestly don't know. I'm glad to look up information for you, but I don't know.
Okay.
That's not a program I handle in the office. I just know the basics of the program. It also is, it also is a, you have to take the initiative to apply for there's a packet and, you know, with the track 1, we kind of had a, you know, we can basically go in there and here's all the eligible people and we can print out the thing and contact you and come in and sign your form. Because you had an insurance claim,
Right.
you were already there. With this, that's based off of your income and you have to do the research on that and then fill out the application for that.
Okay.
We're welcome to help you, anybody with that. But
So-
I don't know the payment.
So on that program, for track 1, you said it was based on interest, that's on that,
That's on
on just crop insurance.
RNA.
Okay,
Right.
okay, so
Or NAP,
Okay,
and I
so-
think NAP is a little bit different with that, but yes.
okay, so you had both the NAP system, and then you had the risk management, RMA side of it. So that's automatic in your system. So anyone who filed a claim on track 1 for crop insurance, disaster, whichever, then they were automatic in your system to receive payment, so they got paid.
They had to sign a form, but like
Okay, but
I
it's
said,
out.
we went into the system and basically went down the list and contacted people, say, hey, you're eligible for this, we need your signature.
Okay, but the track 2 that's up down,
Right,
the track 2 side is based on, again, it's income. Income, if 22 income or less than 2018 income,
correct.
then, which was a disaster year, then they qualify for it, and there's a formula for the payments.
I'm sorry.
And there's a set formula, how those payments are
Right, yes.
driven, okay? You don't know whether it was is it based on market or whether it was based on established yields?
I don't know that, sir.
You don't know, okay.
It's probably if I had to guess, it's probably a combination.
The combination, okay.
But probably, since it's income based, I would say probably market, but I'm speaking off the cuff, so that may be totally false information, but I can look that up for you.
Yeah, I know the insurance part, you know, they had the buyout program on
Right,
one side and the other one, which is the regular program. So it was based on, you know, what the insurance is, was payment, that would represent one type of payment. Based on the market, it's gonna be another type of payment. And it could be a combination, I don't know. Okay, thank you.
And I also have one other thing, all of our information, if you want to stay informed with USDA, farmers.gov is a great website. They've done, I've looked through it and there's great information out there. Any of the forms that when you are looking at participating in a program, whether it be FSA or NRCS, all those forms are out there. They even have packets put together, like for an individual or for an entity. You can just click it and it opens up and it's all the different forms an individual would need. And then there's all the different forms, like an entity, a trust, a corporation, an LLC, whatever would need. So, that's a great resource for you also, and just general questions, there's buttons you can click to, if you're interested in this program, click the button and it'll give you the overview information. It allows you to also, look up your nearest service center, tell it what you're near and it can tell you the service center area. Because I know everybody in here is not from Jefferson County, so, anyway. So any questions I'm glad to answer or find out information if I don't know it. Thank you.
All right, I am on the loan side. And something really interesting is going on with the loan side right now. Yesterday morning, Secretary Vilsack announced to even us and the public at the same time that they're changing a lot of the regulations, probably about 150 pages worth of CFR law. So a lot of this, I'm gonna tell you, may be outdated. They haven't really told us the 150 pages. They just said it's coming. It's gonna go into effect on September 25th though, so it's coming fast. We are trying to brand ourselves as the lender of first opportunity. It's designed to help farmers start, purchase, or expand their farming operation when they cannot obtain commercial credit. FSA loan officers are available to help and to assist with the process of the application. FSA targets funding for beginning and underserved minorities and women, farmers and ranchers. When I say that they have target funding for beginning and underserved, that means basically that there's a whole pot of money out there that it's not going to run out. Okay, there is a limit. Congress sets that limit every year, but they keep funding in that situation. We'll talk a little bit about eligibility, and FSA is considered a supervised credit. This is different from traditional credit like banks and stuff. FSA is the lender of first opportunity for those who may not otherwise qualify for ag credit. FSA makes and services direct loans through supervised credit with funds from the U.S. Treasury. FSA also offers a loan guarantees for loans made by the conventional banks and lenders. Direct and guaranteed applicants must be unable to obtain sufficient credit elsewhere, be a citizen or a legal resident alien, possess legal capacity to incur the loan obligation, have acceptable credit history, and be the owner, operator, or tenant operator of a family farm. And we kind of piggyback on that part with the program side. When you come in and you sign up with the program side and stuff, I can get all their records and figure out what's going on with stuff. Some more eligibility, direct and guaranteed applicants must not be delinquent on any federal debt. Most of the stuff I find is student loans and stuff. So any kind of federal, because student loans all went federal, so any kind of federal debt, we can't be delinquent on any of that. How do we fix that? We just pay that current. Have management ability for the type of loan requested. Not have ever caused the agency a loss by receiving debt forgiveness. There are some expectations in there. Not have been convicted of planting, cultivating, growing, producing, harvesting, or storing a controlled substance within the last 5 years. So what do direct loan applicants do? What we do is when you come in, we're going to build you an entire business plan. We got to get in your business. We got to figure out everything about you, your cash flow, any kind of payments you have, anything that shows up on your credit. We have to really get into what's going on. We have to make sure that our loans have collateral to make them. Normally in our row crop loans, the crops are sufficient collateral or adequate. We do try to gain additional collateral from it. I think it used to be 150%. Like I said, I think in the September 25th thing that's coming up, we're going to bring that down to about 125%. I don't know if I can say that either. And this is live, ain't it? Y'all recording this. Oh, Lord, I'm in trouble. Where was that? You gotta agree to take borrower training if we require it. We really try to assist you to graduate to a commercial lender. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get you to the places that you need to be. What we also look at are the 5 C's of credit. 5 C's of credit is character, capital, collateral, conditions, and capacity. Know your credit score, your credit report, your cash flow, and your farm finances. Have a plan. Having a plan creates success for and repayment. So we do have 2 different real programs. We have the direct side, which is directly with FSA, and the guaranteed side where we can guarantee our you with the lender. The guaranteed stuff, the lender is actually our applicant, okay? For our direct programs right now, we have inside that program, we have farm ownership loans, which are to purchase real estate. We have operating loans and we have microloans. Right now, for August of 2024, our farm ownership loans interest rate is 5.625. And our operating loan is 5.375. For our direct loans, we have limits that we have to go up to, that we can go up to, but we can't pass them. Right now, on direct operating is 400,000. Our farm ownership is 600,000. We do have some microloans that are a little bit easier to get, and that is a top of 50,000. And then our guaranteed loans, we can go up to 2,236,000. And guys, that about changes every year, so take that with a grain of salt. So our direct operating loans can be used to purchase equipment, livestock. We can use them as production expenses like annual operating loans, and we can refinance operating expenses. Operating loans can be repaid in from 1 to 7 years. As I previously said, it has a limit of $400,000. Our farm ownership loan, it can be used to pay for land purchases, capital improvements, soil and water conservation, loan closing and related expenses, and those can go up to 600,000. And we had a limit of 40 years. That may have changed. That may change on September 25th. All right, so I'm gonna switch directions and talk about guaranteed loans just for a second. Like I said, these are made from our agricultural lenders, farm credit places, local banks. They're funded by the lender and they'll be our applicant, often used to help lenders continue with customers who've had experienced setbacks. To qualify for FSA guaranteed loan, an applicant must meet general eligibility requirements, be unable to obtain a loan without a guarantee, and have a feasible plan and adequate collateral as determined by the lender. Okay. An heirs property relending program. The eligible entities will provide loans to assistant heirs to resolve ownership issues on farmland with multiple owners. Resolve succession issues on farmland with multiple owners. Note that these are loans that must be repaid to the intermediary lender. In the 2018 Farm Bill created a new program to assist heirs access to USDA programs, support economic viability and protect farm legacies. The program is the Heirs Property Relending Program. Heirs property refers to family-owned land jointly owned by descendants of a deceased person whose estate did not clear probate. This leaves descendants or heirs with the ability to use the property, but without having those estate issues resolved or a clear title. There is no proof of ownership, which doesn't allow the heirs to participate in several federal programs. However, this program is not available in FSA offices. Instead, heirs work with an approved re-lender, an intermediate lender who will re-lend funds that they have obtained from USDA and assist heirs in resolving ownership issues on farmland with multiple heirs. The eligible uses of funds is to buy out fractional interest held in common by other heirs in jointly owned properties, and to pay for costs associated with developing and implementing a succession plan, such as the closing costs, the appraisals, the title searches, surveys, preparing documents, mediation, and legal services. That is all I have. My name is, like I said, Kyle Harrod. My phone number is 870-628-4542, extension 2. And then I'll give you the stuff so you can put that on the chat.
Under the eligibility, I just saw one question really. Under the debt forgiveness. You know, debt forgiveness can put it on something, they get referenced on the federal program side on eligibility requirement. If you have received debt forgiveness, then you're not eligible to receive a loan from FSA. Okay, which could be debt write down, you know, under restructure. I don't know if that's gonna change under this new piece or not.
Restructuring, no, and with all the IRS stuff, everything, we're not considering that a write down either. We're considering that a payment. So
Okay,
there are certain things.
okay, so going back, well, if it's debt write off, and I'm saying it because I've dealt with some cases on this now. In debt write off, and you can do restructuring and you can do deferral under the restructuring. And you can do deferral and debt write off to avoid adverse actions on foreclosure. Okay, so that becomes a debt write off in the process of that restructuring, the combination of that. So you're saying under that, if you do a debt write off under restructuring, to move out of adverse action or acceleration for foreclosure, that doesn't count? It's for against eligibility on debt write off, debt forgiveness?
Say it one more time.
Okay.
You got some good questions.
Eligibility requirements, I know in federal government eligibility requirements, if you had debt forgiveness or debt write off, then you can be declared not eligible for the program services for receiving a loan from FSA. Okay.
Correct.
And we run into this all the time. Under the rule, Joe rule, with RD, you're not eligible. So what I'm asking that if you have received debt write-off through either restructuring or write down, are you eligible or not eligible for financing? Because there's another part of that question I'm coming to.
I'm gonna say it depends on what you're coming in here.
Well, I'm coming.
Are you gonna throw an annual loan at me?
Yeah, I'm coming in to a loan. I'm coming in for a loan.
The annual operating loan, you still may be eligible if you're still working with us and you've been in contact with us and we went through that primary loan servicing together and we're still trying to fight out of it.
Okay, so.
But that's just an annual loan, an annual operating loan.
Now, there's some active cases on this right now, so if I go in for one now. Larry, you listen to him now, right? I am. Yes, this is the law guy back here, I just talk all the time. But he studied the law.
And realize that what I'm saying right now is only gonna last till September 25th.
Don't worry, this happened before September.
Okay.
25th. In the current now, let's give a current rule, because I understand that September 31st, there's another operating year, and you're gonna be filing based on the new administrative rule, which just came out, okay? But what I'm asking is that these are pending situation. If you have had a debt write down under the general administrative rules of FSA, we've had a debt write-down, write-off. Are you saying you are eligible to get a loan? And that not be considered
An annual one.
an annual loan,
A term loan, so.
no, annual loan, annual operating.
And there's so much behind that.
No, it's straightforward. I want a loan, I want a loan. So it's a loan application made and disqualified because of lack of cash flow. One, because of old debt from a debt write down, so, and the debt write down, so eligibility policy.
Term loan, no,
No, so you're not eligible.
on term.
No, I'm not still about term, I'm saying annual loan, operating loan. Operating loan is automatically annual. That's the annual loan, operating loan.
There's
I'm not saying capital loan.
there's exceptions out there that could make you eligible.
Okay, now,
I can't say that you,
okay.
I can say that there's exceptions out there that we could go to the state executive director.
Okay, my next question, is this an exception? Is it an exception under 2007? Debt write-off? Is that an exception?
That's an hour payment. That is not right there.
No, I understand, but
We're considering that a loan payment. So
no, I'm asking still, because it takes the debt off, either way you go with it, you don't call it write down, but it brings return, it brings, just like restructuring.
right.
The restructuring, if you restructure under administrative rules, I don't know, general administrative rules, if you're restructured, and the restructuring is an inclusion of deferred payment and debt write down and bring to current. So you can't accelerate or deal with adverse action to foreclosure. So
Actually, we can't accelerate, period.
well, no, I know that. I understand you can accelerate right now because there's been a moratorium, putting out a moratorium. I understand that.
Sir.
But I'm just saying, based on the administrative rule, with that, 007 bring the current, debt restructuring bring the current, both of them bring the current. Okay, 2007 under the Inflation Reduction Act bring the current.
But they had an old write down from a long time ago.
Yes, a debt write down and write off from a long time ago. You don't want to say, yeah, nobody else is asking that for me either. I'll tell you what. So, okay, so I'm asking.
Those are great questions, and I'm telling you right now, if you ask anybody else, we're gonna go straight to the national office. and
Nobody don't know, so.
We're gonna get an answer from them because that's where we're at. We don't wanna mess up.
Well, so Larry, we gotta go state and national. Okay.
What county are you in?
San Francisco.
Okay.
No, he. We work with the same organization, so he's in this county too.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm organization, see, I said, I'm not pre-owned, I said we employed in Canada. So we in your county too, in your county. Okay, thank you, very much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. Next, we're gonna have, we'll finish up on rural development with Tommy James.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Tell you, it's tough to come behind. Tommy James is my name. I'm the area director, located in Monticello, Arkansas. And we do have a sub office here in Pine Bluff. Ms. Harris spoke to you all about the Small Town Community Facility Grant and Loan Program. And I will be talking about the Housing Grant and Loan Program. As well as give you some information regarding the Business Grant and Loan Program and the Energy Program, which is primarily provided and serviced by the state office. I will give you information on the contact person that administers those programs and can assist you because they are handled on the state office level. We have in our program, Housing Loan and Grant Program, we have the Direct 502 Rural Housing Loan Program, okay? And that program assists individuals who are seeking to purchase a home or trying to build a home, okay?
It helps low and very low income applicants buy decent, safe and sanitary housing in eligible rural areas by providing payment assistance to increase their applicants' repayment ability. Now, payment assistance is a type of subsidy that reduces the mortgage payment for a short time. And the amount of assistance is determined by the adjusted family household income. Who can apply for this program? At a minimum, applicant must have an adjusted income that is at or below the applicable low income limits for the area in which they wish to buy a house. Applicant must be without decent, safe, and sanitary housing, be unable to obtain a loan or grant from other resources on terms and conditions that they can reasonably be expected to meet. Agree to occupy the property as their principal residence, have the legal capacity to incur a loan obligation, meet citizenship or eligible non-citizen requirements, and not be suspended or debarred from participation in federal programs. So we do check the do not pay and making sure that you're not debarred from doing business with the federal government. Properties financed with direct loan funds must be modest in size for the area, not having market value in excess of the applicable area loan limits. And by the way, the loan limits are right now $337,000, okay? Not be designed for income producing activities. The house cannot be used for that purpose. Borrowers are required to repay all or a portion of their payment assistance received over the life of the loan. When the title to the property is transferred, the borrower is no longer living in the dwelling. So that's what we call subsidy recapture. It has to be paid back. Not all of it, but a portion of it, okay? And that starts from day one when that individual started receiving subsidy from the federal government on their loans. There are other factors involved, like the appraised value, the improvements that may have been done to the property, as well as the remaining debt that's owed on it, that is put into a formula and it calculates what not all of it, but a portion of it has to be paid back. In the event they sell their home or they want to transfer title to it, okay? What is an eligible area? Ms. Harris mentioned that we service 14 counties. And all of the areas are considered rural except Pine Bluff, Whitehall, and Porter Chapel, Washington Chapel, right? Those three areas are considered to be ineligible areas for the housing program, okay? But all the other counties is considered to be rural. How can funds be used? Loan funds can be used to help low-income people or households buy homes in rural areas. Funds can be used to build, repair, renovate, or relocate a home, or to purchase and prepare sites, including providing water and waste treatment equipment. So all that can be included in the loan if they're seeking to purchase a home or trying to build a home, okay? One of the requirements when it comes to building, we require that you use a licensed contractor that is qualified for the state of Arkansas to construct your home. Even when it comes down to doing repairs, that individual contractor has to be licensed by the State Board of Arkansas to do work in the state of Arkansas, okay? And you will have to provide, he or she will have to provide that information to document that they are eligible in the state of Arkansas. The current interest rate right now on our direct 502 loan is 4.75%. That's a fixed interest rate. We finance for 33 years. If the individual's in the low income, it's financed for 33 years. If they're in the very low income range, we finance it for 38 years, okay? That is a fixed interest rate. And the subsidy comes into play when, let's say the interest rate being 4.75 that they receive, but the income is in the very low, the chances are the government is going to kick in and pay the majority of that payment. they would pay 1%, and the government would kick in the difference to make up that 4.875. Okay, so that's something, every year it has to be recertified to see what the payment is gonna be. And the payment, of course, is based upon household income. Not just on the person who's on the deed title. It's household income that has to be accounted for. Okay? That's the Direct 502 program. The other program we have is the Single Family Housing Repair Loan and Grant Program. This year is our 504 home repair program. It provides loans to very low income homeowners to repair their homes, to improve or modernize their homes, or provide grants to elderly, very low income homeowners to remove health and safety hazards. Now, this particular program, the individual must occupy the house, okay? They must be unable to obtain affordable credit elsewhere and have a family income within the very low income limits. For grants, the person has to be 62 years of age or older to apply, and the grant is to remove any health or safety issues that they may have with their homes. It's strictly for removal of health and safety issues pertaining to the home in order to apply for the grant. The maximum amount of the grant is $10,000. That is the lifetime amount. If an individual receives that one time, they could not come back and apply for an additional grant. Unless they, regulations, the national office ends up increasing the grant amount, then they can come back and apply for a grant, okay? But right now, it's currently at $10,000. The 504 loan part of it is a 1% loan. Nowhere can you get a 1% loan. The terms on that loan is 20 years, okay? 1% at 20 years, and if we loan $70,500 or more, we have to take a mortgage on the home. If it's under $7,500, then we just take a promissory note, okay? This is a program that a lot of people, we're finding out a lot of people, we do have some take advantage of it, but there's a lot of them just do not want a loan. And a 1% loan, like I said, you can't get that from your local lenders. Payments running on a $20,000 loan, payment runs approximately $92 a month, okay? If we loan if we loan $20,000, we will look at securing it with a mortgage, okay? Now, right now, the 504 loan correction can go up to 40,000. I told you 20, but they can go up to 40,000 right now. And the individual or family member can have a loan and a grant combined. 40,000 on the loan, 10,000 on the grant. It can be combined for a total of $50,000. Okay. The deadline, there's no deadline to apply. We take applications year-round for this program. Okay. How long does it usually take? We have a new system in place right now in processing the application. It's called a centralized process, and it's fixed so that it used to be that we would only take applications in our designated area, but now it's handled statewide. You may have someone in northwest Arkansas or northeast Arkansas working up the application for someone in this area. So we're trying to increase the processing time. We've been working out the kinks when doing so in order to make it better. We're finding right now that it's taking at least 90 days when a person submits their application for it to go to a processor, and from a processor to the underwriting stage to determine eligibility, okay? So that's the process involved with it. like I say, it's a good program, but we're finding that, you know, most of our elderly people, want the grant only. And individuals may desire grant only, but it's not processing that in that way, in that the information is gathered, income, debt structure, and all of that. Credit, do a credit report, and all that information is put in the underwriting program, and it lets us know, based on that person's income, debt structure, and credit history, just how much of what will they qualify for. Some may qualify for a grant, some may qualify for a loan, some may qualify for a loan and grant combination. So that's what determines what they qualify for. You know, we have quite a few times that, you know, people come in and they desire to apply for a grant only. Well, that, because you're applying for the grant doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna qualify to get the grant. The system determines that based upon income, debt structure, and again, credit history, okay? Are there any questions on those two programs?
Excuse me, sir, I just had a quick question.
Yes, sir.
So is that for the rural area only, or does that have to do with certain, demographics, like you said, Pine Bluff wouldn't qualify?
We cover 14 counties, and of those 14 counties, there are only 3 areas that is not eligible. And they are Pine Bluff, Whitehall, and Watson Chapel. Those other counties that Ms. Harris mentioned to you, all of those counties considered to be rural. Right.
So if you're in Gregory County, that's not one of you guys.
Our particular area, to Perry County.
Yeah, my carrier.
Okay. I'm believing there's gonna be another area. We have approximately, we have 6 area offices in the state of Arkansas. Okay, and you said Perry County?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Perry County is in area 6, which is in, Fort Smith, Arkansas. Okay, now, that being said, as I stated earlier, even though in the past, processing application, individuals would have to go to that particular office. Not the case right anymore, because we centralized that. I mean, someone in Monticello may process an application up in Fort Smith under the centralized process. Okay, but no, it's not required that you submit that application directly to that particular office or area that you're located in. Right.
There was a question, there was an area wants to build workforce housing. Wants to know, would he qualify and how would he get started?
A workforce housing.
They want to build workforce housing.
Okay.
The sponsor. If it's workforce housing, then that fall under the seasonal, migrant seasonal homework.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, we have, we call it farm labor housing.
Right.
That particular program, individual would have to apply for that, program through our multifamily housing,
Right.
which is handled by the national office. We do have information on that, and I can share some information with you about the farm labor housing. It says that the farm labor housing loan and grant, and that we consider that the 514 and 515 loan and grant program, finance the purchase of housing projects for farm workers or migrant laborers, okay? So USDA processes loans and grants for eligible entities. Now, those eligible entities are gonna be nonprofits, public bodies, housing authorities, and associations of farmers. It's not for individuals. Right, it's not for individuals. Rural areas that serve farm labor household, I'm assuming it's good throughout those rural areas that are designated, that we mentioned earlier, that we was talking about. Say finance new or buy and renovate existing farm labor housing. And the typical amount of assistance is anywhere from 1 million to 2 million, highly leveraged, okay? And the interest rate on that is 1% fixed with a 33-year term. It's very competitive program. Grants may be included with loans, but it's handled by the state office and the single family housing division. So if that's something that individual is interested in, I'd be glad to pass the information along as a contact person in the single family housing division in the state office. Any other questions?
Yeah, you have one online, Mike.
He wants to, the contact.
The contact information, okay. The single family housing program director name is Johnny James. Okay, and the number is 870-741-8600 extension 4. Okay, that's the single family housing program director that he can provide that information from the national office as to who is to contact regarding applying for the farm labor housing program. Also, while I'm talking to you, if you all would take down this website, it's www.rd.usda.gov//AR. That's the website for rural development for the state of Arkansas. And it has all our programs listed in that website. They have the contact information of each program director, who's the state director, as well as the area, total number of areas that we have and who is the area director for the areas here in the state of Arkansas, okay? So that will have all our program information on that particular website.
Can you repeat it one more time?
Yes. www.rd.usda.gov/AR. And I'm glad to give you my contact information. My number is 870-367-8400, extension 4. And my email address is TOMMIE.James, JAMES, @USDA.gov. Now let's talk to you all about our business grant loans programs. The program director for our business and cooperative programs is Mr. Tim Smith. And his number is area code 501-301-3280. Under the business and cooperative programs, there are approximately 17 different programs that are listed under the business and cooperative program. The programs we're talking about is rural business cooperative programs, the B&I guarantee, the intermediary lending program, the rural business development grant and enterprise, the rural business development grant opportunity, and the value added producer grant, and the socially disadvantaged group loan, group grant, and the rural cooperative development grant. the Renewable Energy and Efficiency Project, what we call the REAP grant. We have the REAP loan guarantee. We have the REAP grant, energy audit for renewable energy assistance. And section 9005, that's the Advanced Biofuel Payment Program. And we have the REG loan, which is the Rural Economic Development Loan. And we have the REG grant, which is the Rural Economic Development Grant. And we have the DHCS grant, which is the Delta Healthcare Service Grant, okay? So these are some of the programs that we have under the rural business and cooperative programs. Like I say, it's quite a few of them.
Do you have do you have a paper I can take with me, I guess?
I have, what I can do is give you my card, and if you would, touch bases with me, and I can reach out to them, or either get their information and give it to me, and I'll email them some information.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So what you were just mentioning, is that the energy, does that have to do with the solar panel?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, that does have to do with that. That program again, is like I said, it is administered from our state office. I gave you the program director's name, Mr. Tim Smith, and his contact information. And like I said, feel free to give him a call or his staff a call and just let them know you're interested in that program. And they'll take it from there and discuss that program with you or provide any information to you regarding applying.
Now, on that energy grant program, Pine Bluff qualifies for that.
Under the rural energy.
Yeah, under the rural energy, yeah, Pine Bluff, Whitehall, those other areas that doesn't qualify for the housing program and the community facilities program, they should qualify for the energy grant program.
Let me see here. Yeah, because of the population being over 50,000.
Right.
Yeah, they couldn't get a plan. It is correct.
So on the energy, for the energy grant program, where Pine Bluff population limitation, it exceeds the population limitation of 20,000.
50,000.
No, 50,000, 50,000, no, I'm saying for the housing program.
Okay, now, for the housing program, you can't exceed 20,000.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So for that housing, what he was talking about, Pine Bluff was not eligible, Whitehall and those other areas weren't eligible for those other programs. Under the energy program, all of those areas qualify for the grant program of energy. And that's both for the solar. Also, if you're dealing with efficiency upgrade on heating and cooling system, those that qualifies to that for the energy.
Not for single family housing.
No, but for businesses.
For business,
Yeah. So on the energy I'm sorry, you have both the residential and you have the commercial side on the energy program, energy grant program. So you have the solar on one side, and then you have the energy efficiency grant side that deals with upgrading or modifying and changing equipment over to address energy efficiency that also qualifies on the grant program side, or for the commercial, not for the commercial side. So just be both the business and the residential on the grant.
Right. And let me just add to that, one of the things that I've seen, we've seen quite a bit of intake on, is that the dealing with the solar panels, that your farmers have beginning to get more involved with that to offset energy costs, help with the silo bins, when they storing their crops and what have you. That program is assisting them with that. Right.
Right. Now, am I correct? That program also qualifies individuals on the tax credit side, get tax credits on that as well?
Now that I'm not sure. Once they, let's see here. Eligible applicants would be state or local government, tribes, colleges, electric co-ops, and publicly owned utilities. Yeah.
I have one other question. I know we're gonna wrap it up here now. My last question, on that centralized housing, you get reference to centralized housing, the individual can be anywhere and make application. Is that the third party servicing unit you're giving reference to?
The third party?
Yeah, where if you go through a third, like there's some organizations, I understand Arkansas participating in this, that say if our organization had a contract with that organization, and then if you submit the application through that third party,
But basically, you're talking about a long package.
that's basically what it is.
Right,
Long package. Long package.
Yeah, long package.
Now, those individuals, you don't get any preferred servicing because you go through that.
No,
Okay,
No.
now that was mine. Everything I've read, I did not see where you would get preference in treatment or servicing your application. But I could go to an R&D staff person in St. Francis County, and they put together a package of process along with someone that's in Jefferson County.
Yeah.
They go through, but that is what you.
Right, that's
On
what I mean by that.
when it comes to speed line services.
exactly.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was doing that.
And then back on that, we have a priority listing or priority code that we assign to application once they come in.
Right.
For those particular applications that are involving existing customers of rural development already on the home, they receive priority because we have to make sure we protect our interests.
So if they're already on the home.
Through
they get-
rural development,
Through rural development,
Right.
they get priority service.
they get priority, sir.
Okay,
Right,
okay.
right. And
So that's basically under the 504 program is what
that's under 502.
502.
Yeah, individuals already own their home. They came through us to purchase the home.
Right,
We financed
okay,
it. And they come back later on and say, well, I need to do some repairs to it. Then they will receive priority to receive those repairs.
okay, so for the renovation loan and grant program, if you purchase your home through RD and you need those services now, you get priority.
You get priority.
Okay, great.
Priority. And we do have hardships out there, but primarily our hardships involve the conditions of the home. You know, we don't look at all other hardships individuals may have, but it's tied into the condition of that home. And if it's a situation that the home is beyond repairs, it's not feasible to put money into it and you still don't have problems, then that individual or family will need to consider applying for the direct 502 program. Right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, William.
Thank you. We want to appreciate each agency on the panel here. And that we all know that knowledge is powerful. And we hope Arkansas Land Community Development Corporation have increased the knowledge and understanding of the programs that USDA have to offer. And increased knowledge, community-based principles and options to advance racial equity for farming businesses, operations, and other communities. Also, that you have a better understanding of fair development practices with USDA program services. And today that you take this knowledge and tell your neighbors and friends about the services that we have to offer to you too. So, and on behalf of Dr. King and our CEO and staff, we have complimentary snacks and drinks for you, and we want you to take advantage of it, because it's for you. And again, thank you. To contact us, we want to give you our contact information, which is Arkansas Land and Community Development Corporation number 870-734-1140 at Fargo area, and 870-594-7000 for the Forest City 831 location. So make sure that you call us if you need us. And if you can't come, we'll come to you. Just let us know. Again, thank you.